everyone, I'm Sarah Wingfield. I'm also known as Kawaii Decora, and I really just want to say thank you for allowing me to speak to you all today. I am an actress, a producer, an independent disability advocate, a blogger, an author and music artist, but most people in Newton Aycliffe know me for my community and charity work. Before I begin, I want to make this space inclusive. So for anyone with visual impairments, I'm a Caucasian woman with red hair and I'm wearing my hair down. I'm wearing a pink crochet crop top cardigan over a black top and black trousers with pink croc style shoes. I believe accessibility starts with being seen, being heard and being respected. Why me? I am a fully qualified independent disability advocate and I aim to continue building my qualifications, including the level 2 course I am currently completing with Learning Curve Group in Understanding Domestic Abuse. This training also supports my charity work with charities like Nari Smarter, based in London, enhancing my ability to promote the well-being of women and children, as well as drawing on my personal lived experiences. So let's start with something interactive. So I want everyone to close your eyes for a moment and take a deep breath. Now, I want you to imagine someone disabled. Picture them in your mind. What do they look like? What are they using? How are they standing or sitting? Now, open your eyes. Thank you. Raise your hand if you imagine somebody in a wheelchair. How about a walking stick? A mobility scooter? Who imagines someone standing with nothing at all? That's brilliant, because we associate disability with visibility, and that is a common bias. So it's absolutely amazing that some of you acknowledge invisible illnesses. Assuming someone needs to look disabled to be treated with respect or belief is deeply harmful. Thank you all for doing this exercise with me. Now, keeping to the topic of visibility, I am disabled myself, you can probably tell, with the walking stick. And I have overlapping conditions to the point I feel like I'm collecting them. Where's the disability bingo prizes when you need them? Bingo! Okay, so I live with a combination of chronic conditions. Some days I can mobilise a little with limited pain. Other days I can't move without exceptional pain. My disability changes daily. Sometimes even hourly. And no, it doesn't always show. This is known as a dynamic disability. It fluctuates and varies. But don't worry if you've not heard of the terminology I'm sharing today. I'll go through the terms again and what they represent. I often hear, but you don't look disabled. You looked fine at events. You fake it for the benefits. I'm still wondering what benefits, but okay. Okay, you get the gist. We learn to mask our pain because we have to do everything that other people have to do. We learn showing our pains or struggles leads to us being misunderstood or mislabeled as a burden and a problem. And we find in modern day society we aren't always supported when we do share or show that we are struggling. And even worse, sometimes, unfortunately, we are even attacked when we do. These unfortunate times, I try and use my painful experiences to challenge what needs to be challenged and to improve areas that are lacking and to help safeguard others so they never have to endure what I have. I smile now, but what I want to say to a lot of people is, you're not seeing the full picture. Now, you can see I've included my own personal pelvic x-ray. This is of osteoarthritis, symphysis pubis dysfunction, also known as pelvic girdle pain, which is a gap of the symphysis pubis of 10.9 millimetres. Anything beyond 7 millimetres is a severe dislocation. 1 in 3 women during pregnancy develop this. I developed it 12 weeks into my pregnancy, and it is permanent now. Because I choose to walk on my pelvis, and I haven't been able to get surgery, you can also see that I have some fractures on my hip bones. And what it's done is it's grown extra bone either side to try and help with that. So that also impacts my mobility. Why have I shared this? Because I want people to remember something. Not all issues are visible, and harm is still happening beneath the surface. When we move, many of us experience inflammation, pain, or fatigue. Our bodies react. We have to pace ourselves. Yes, some of us can cycle, including me, swim, dance, or even run, but it is often brief. And what people don't see are the days of recovery that follow, or the days of rest to prepare for using that much energy and mobilisation. The pain, the fatigue, the quiet, unseen struggles and tears behind closed doors. We might look fine in a moment, but that moment doesn't define our reality or what we're enduring to enjoy that moment of time. Disability is very complex. It's not just about what you can see. More often than not, it's about what you can't see. I was bedbound, housebound for over a decade. And my father even said to me he thought I'd die in that bed. I didn't have mobility rehabilitation support or the right pain management. And I would have wasted away had I not been an out-of-the-box thinker, stubborn, and someone driven and determined to change things for myself and for others. 2021, I got ankle weights, and I got out of my wheelchair, and I now walk with a walking stick as a preference to using a wheelchair. However, you may spy me using one of the wonderful accessible scooters in Tesco that they offer customers like myself. An aid, after all, is a support. It's an extension of oneself. This is the social model of disability. Now, this copy I've borrowed from Inclusion London, so I'm crediting that to them. And as you can see on this diagram, the social model of disability states that the oppression and exclusion people with impairments face is caused by the way society is run and organised. We have badly designed buildings, stairs, not ramps, no lifts, or lifts that are out of order. Special schools, we are still fighting for SEND education and mandatory training for teachers in regards to SEND education. Few sign language interpreters, discrimination, inaccessible transport, no parking places, and I recently highlighted in a video that electric charged vehicles are being prioritised over disabled bays currently. There are a lot of places that should have had disabled bays, but instead overrun with electric charging vehicles. What they don't realise is some electric charging vehicle users could be disabled. We need to be more inclusive. Isolate families who are job prospects. So the social model of disability states that a person's impairment is not what causes their disability. Rather, disability is caused by societal barriers, such as physical obstacles, negative attitudes, and exclusionary systems that prevent full participation in society. Developed by disabled people, this model seeks to remove these disabling barriers, shifting the responsibility from the individual to society to create a more accessible and equal environment where disabled people can have choice and control over their lives. Okay, so let's talk language and understand it. Ambulatory means someone, like me, who can mobilise, but still might need to use a wheelchair at times. Dynamic disabilities are, again, like some of my conditions, are conditions that fluctuate. What we can do one day, we might not be able to do the next. Invisible disabilities include but aren't limited to autism, Ehlers-Danlos, hypermobility syndrome, POTS, fibromyalgia, ME, CFS, PTSD, and more. These are all real, yet they are often misunderstood, disbelieved, or dismissed. Quick show of hands, who had heard the term ambulatory wheelchair user before tonight? 2. Better than none. Thank you. These terms are important because they help me explain myself better and it's given me language I could use to summarise my struggles and to challenge ignorance and ableism. Everyday ableism. People don't often intend to be ableist. Oftentimes they don't even realise they are being. Ableism is our biggest fight yet. And here are some small examples of ableism. You are lazy. When we rely on PIP or benefits or are seen using aids or supports. You are faking. When we are seen in employment or achieving things despite our struggles. Fatigue, pain or cognitive overload, especially when one or more of these are chronic, are medical and neurological realities. And as such, people struggling with these often exert more energy and time just to function daily than those without disabilities or conditions. If you have time, I urge you to look up the spoon theory on butyoudon'tlooksick.com. It was how a individual with lupus, explained to her best friend about her dynamic disability, and she used spoons as a reference to energy. So every time she needed to do something, she needed to use a spoon to do it, and we only have so many a day. So remember, invisible conditions exist. Blue badge challenges. Most do this, as even I've witnessed. A lot of disabled bears are misused. However, if they do have a blue badge on display when parking there, no one should be challenging them. Because that person, no matter what others think, could have an invisible condition. Even if they're lifting things, even if they are not walking with a mobility aid or anything like that, they may still have struggles. The next one, just get a job. Most of us, like myself, work unpaid, mostly for charities in communities and to give our disabled community a voice. However, until we tackle systemic barriers, policies, inaccessible workplaces and discrimination, we won't be able to improve our employability until people start seeing our skills and values over our struggles. I've been looking for a paid job for 3 years. I get shortlisted, I get interviewed. As soon as they see my stick or read or hear the word disabled, no more interest. It speaks volumes for those of us that face those barriers. Many of us have exceptional problem-solving skills. As we have these struggles, we can still work to deadlines, and a lot of us have additional skills and qualifications because we've had the free time due to constantly being overlooked or stigmatised when seeking employment. Now this next slide is a little controversial, and it's very new in the UK. Disability and cannabis, legal medical use in the UK. The UK laws definitely need to be updated, and cannabis is available on the NHS, albeit mostly for terminal illnesses. It is legally prescribed now in the UK by private clinics. I am a medical cannabis user, and I have a vape and a valid legal prescription that I pay a lot of money for. The right pain management allows us to study and mobilise and manage our pain so we can have improved focus and have better recall. We are medicated to get well, not to get high. The difference between us is when we take that medication, the pain subdues, we can focus. If somebody was to take that without pain, they would get high. That is the big difference. And it is still often misunderstood, and we still face a lot of stigma today. Now, another little, imagine a parrot sitting on your shoulder. Another little exercise. You all imagining a parrot sitting on your shoulder? Yeah? Okay. Now it's squawking at you and it's pecking you over and over and over. How long do you as a person think you could tolerate that? An hour? A week? It's no different to disability, but for me, it's more like several of them, all over, pecking and squawking. I feel achy and bruised and heavy sometimes, and this is why pain management is essential, especially the right pain management. I was prescribed opioids for free on the NHS. They damaged my livers and my kidneys. I was on fentanyl, Oromorph, and Lyrica, gabapentin, pregabalin. I came off all of that when I was getting out of my wheelchair, and I have found a suitable and legal pain management, albeit it's still stigmatised. This is why pain management is essential though, and education is needed. So ableists stop using medical cannabis as grounds to sabotage and abuse disabled people in their advocacy. With my advocacy, I am approached weekly by people that are prescribed medical cannabis that are facing issues even though the law states medical cannabis is legal. I was in the news regarding this, but unfortunately in that situation, discrimination has won. And a very important podcast that I created with Durham Enable will never be reinstated. So I shared it as a blog instead. Even though I can no longer use Durham Enable due to conflict of interest and lack of faith now, as the podcast was actually also a part of my employment support to be shared and to hopefully found someone who could offer me paid work, I still move forward and I still do my best to help who I can. Every lesson in life is a blessing. It shows you what areas need improvement and shows me what I need to work harder on, what I need to challenge. I may not be able to change everything, but I challenge what I can and I can hope for change. Discrimination and reality. Living with a dynamic or invisible disability can mean dealing with more than just physical pain. It means facing judgment and suspicion. I've been stared at and been targeted for using accessible toilets, even with my walking stick. Often we have to ask for keys, which isn't very accessible, they're locked. So I carry my own radar key, which is a couple of pounds from any Motability store, and I recommend people getting one. I've been challenged for standing up from a wheelchair, accused of faking my condition multiple times, and I've used my experiences in education to also write papers for the training of carers and professionals in our local area. This was implemented and it improved carer and professionals' awareness of invisible illnesses and judgment. Ableism isn't always loud, but it is everywhere. And it tells disabled people, you must prove your struggle to be believed. PIP fraud rates are 0.1%. A lot of people don't know that. But we don't owe anyone proof of our pain. We owe ourselves compassion, and society owes us respect, which is why I'll always turn my pain and my struggles into power, my experiences into education, and my voice to raise awareness for inclusion. Unfortunately, the silencing of disabled voices is common, as systemic barriers continue to silence and discredit those of us in the disabled community that are fighting to raise awareness and action positive change for all. After all, accessibility for disabled people improves accessibility for the elderly, parents, pushchair users and children. It benefits all. In a wider capacity, organisations and businesses, by being accessible, are opening their doors to additional customers. They are making their organisations more accessible to make more profit and sell more products to more people, which they often forget. Okay, so what can you do and how can you help? There's a few tips I've got here for people who aren't familiar with disabilities. So the first thing is really simple. Don't judge someone's needs based on how they look. We have a little saying as advocates, no one has X-ray eyes. Don't ask what's wrong with you. Ask, how can I support you, or do you need any help? If someone says they don't want help, don't force help. The offer itself is often appreciated, but if it was needed, they'd have accepted the help, so always respect their choice. For me, I had a very negative experience. I was waiting for an X-ray, an MRI, and a nurse decided to push my wheelchair without my consent. And she pushed me away from the person I was with. And I asked her very kindly to take me back, to which she lifted the wheelchair up, slammed it down, and walked away. I have a dislocated pelvis. So we ask people to sort of think about helping people. We want to be helpful, not harmful. So whenever you're making any decision, just think, is this going to help someone? Or could this harm someone? And that also helps. Speak up if you see something inaccessible or unfair. Say hello to the person in the wheelchair, as well as their carer, friend, family member. The amount of times that I've been pushed about and people have had really elaborate conversations and I'm like, hi, I exist. Try not to ignore, cower, or put your head down if someone with a disability is being visibly mistreated in front of you. There are things you can do. As a bystander, you can ask them directly, do you need some support? Do you need any help? Do you need accompaniment away from the negative experience that's occurring? Or even if they want you to call the police if it is really negative. Bystanders can do a lot when professionals act unprofessional, and unfortunately, this does occur quite often. Make room, literally and emotionally. Now, disability doesn't always equal tragedy. So let's stop treating disability like a tragedy. It's difficult, yeah, but it can lead to a lot of different skills and strengths. It's not tragic to be disabled. What's tragic is how many barriers are still put in our way, which shows how much more work us disabled influencers and advocates need to do. Disability is not the real problem. Inaccessibility and prejudice are, and most of what makes things inaccessible can very easily be fixed or has easy solutions. When planning anything, consult with very disabled individuals and influencers because we know how to help others to include us. We have the lived experience, we have gathered the perspectives, we have learned about different disabilities, both mental and physical, and we have more awareness to offer suggestive advice that can be implemented in planning preparations and design. No disability is exactly alike, and every disabled individual is different. All we ask is just be patient, kind, and respectful. Inclusion is the key to a good community. And also remember, you can join our Facebook community group, Disabled and Proud of Us, and help action real life change. So, thank you for listening to this disability awareness talk. And my advocacy work and more can be found on my YouTube channel, Kawaii Decora, and my TikTok, kdoll_artist. As an actress and producer of movies, I also advocate for disability awareness on screen, and I'm very pleased to announce that I work with other filmmakers, producers, directors, actors and actresses with disabilities. We are building our own little network, and we are making a lot of positive change. I'd now love to open the floor to any questions. Don't worry, no question is too small or silly. This is how we learn.
Sarah, would you like to come and sit down and answer the questions, or are you happy there?
I'm fine here.
That's all right.
You've given us an awful lot of information then. I'm not sure I've processed everything you've said, but did you say that your basic problem stems from your pelvis?
One of my problems.
Right. Have you heard about or been discussed with doctors about having a spinal cord stimulator?
No, I'm supposed to have suture surgery, which would be a way of stitching the symphysis pubis bones together so I could still mobilise, because previously they used to weld them together, and the success rate was very low. It was a 4% success rate for that surgery. However, we've come a long way since then, but I'm still trying to get a referral to neurology and my other doctors and things to sort of, and rheumatology, to sort of move forward with that.
Okay. That's one that, all right.
No, it doesn't work. Will you do it, Brian? Thank you.
Sarah, what's the biggest obstacle that you have found physically in Newton Aycliffe?
The biggest obstacle, understanding. I had a very traumatic experience recently at Aycliffe. I sent them an accessibility checklist full of suggestions because I uplift people, I don't hold grudges, and I like to help. And I got blocked from their page instead. The owner of Security Corp did help. He gave us tickets to Symphony Music Festival, and I was happy to promote that for him and leave a positive review. But in Newton Aycliffe, it is literally understanding. So it is literally getting society to have some awareness regarding how disabilities impact people so we can get rid of a lot of assumptions and negative experiences. Can I just say thank you for listening to my talk today? It has been recorded with permission and will be available to watch on my YouTube and social media platforms. Your presence here matters. Together we can shift the way society sees disability, from something to be pitied or avoided or not to be hired, into something to be understood, respected, embraced, employed for specialist skills and included. As a community, we need to protect our vulnerable members, and that includes our disabled community as well as our elders and youth. Thank you.
Well spoken, Sally. You are a remarkable young lady. I'm now going to ask John Burrows, Rotarian John Burrows, if he'd give our vote of thanks. You're coming around here now, Sarah?
Yeah, is that okay?
Good.
Does anybody like this mic?
Yes, bring it with you.
You want that? You want
Don't mind it.
Mr. President, I hope you don't mind if I don't stand up, but I'm invisibly disabled. And my badge of rank is my radar key.
well done.
What an inspiring talk. My wife was disabled for virtually all her life, and I wish she'd had you around to help.
Thank you.
What you've talked about tonight rings true, I think, with every single one of us, whether that disability is physical, mental, or sheer old age, as affects most of us in this room. I fought for a long time to try to convince the powers that be that building regulations for new buildings should include everything accessible for disabled people. It's no more expensive to put ramps than steps. It's no more expensive to put plugs and sockets 600 mil up the wall than it is to put them in the skirting board. Makes life so much easier for somebody in a wheelchair. You're obviously dedicated to your, let's call it a project, I think. Thank you for coming. It really rang so true with me. Thank you. I'd ask the members to show their appreciation in the usual way.